Welcome to the Coffee with Karen podcast, a weekly chat show discussing everything from holistic health to current affairs from a mental, physical and spiritual perspective. Get your weekly cup of positivity with a sprinkling of woo-woo.
Welcome to the show. Today is Tuesday. This is going out on Mintwave radio station. You can just ask Alexa or go to the website karenrobertscoaching.com/Mintwave-radio to listen live and see the schedule for the rest of the week. If it's via podcast, again, come and look at who else we have on our podcast network. So again, same website, /podcast-network, and you can download the app for Apple and Android, and please feel free to follow and subscribe to any podcasts that take your fancy. Leave a review, leave a comment. And today's episode is 131, and today we have the lovely Hilary Rose, who is a kidney health coach, and we're going to be talking about people with chronic illnesses, not just kidney disease, but chronic illnesses, and how they can still have a holiday. They can still enjoy a holiday. So what are the solutions around that? Now, I'm your host, Karen Roberts, and we provide a platform for coaches, consultants, therapists and healers to get their message heard to the people who need to hear it. As owners of Mintwave radio station and the Raising Vibrations podcast network, we also have a directory of coaches to come and find the right fit for you. So welcome to the show, Hilary. Thank you for taking your time out today to be on here.
Hi, Karen. I'm so happy to be here. It's great. The feeling is great. And I just love what you do. You know, you help people like myself. So yeah, I'm so happy to be here.
Well, thanks for taking your time out. So for the listeners, Hilary helps kidney patients book their ideal holiday, which gives them the complete peace of mind to create dream memories. She too is a kidney dialysis home nocturnal patient. She had a kidney transplant in 2007 from her husband that failed immediately. And now she's living her life to help and encourage kidney patients to travel and get out of the rut, rejuvenate, relieve stress, and have an enjoyable life. She also encourages kidney patients to do dialysis self-care, either in the centre or at home. The aim is for the patient to do dialysis at home, whether PD or HD. She advocates for kidney patients in her community. So you have a story to tell, Hilary. So would you like to, first of all, share with the listeners, how did you get here?
Okay. So in 1992, I was diagnosed with kidney failure, and I had an open renal biopsy to find out what the cause was. And unfortunately, they still couldn't find out what the cause was. So I knew since 1992 that I would eventually end up having kidney dialysis, which I really did try to avoid. I tried different diets, I tried different medication, different alternative services or alternative treatments, but they didn't really work. So in 2007, my kidneys actually failed and I went straight to transplant. And as you mentioned earlier, it was given by my husband, and unfortunately it failed immediately. So from then, this is where all the brain started working and started ticking, because I ended up in a satellite unit where I was dialyzing, and I noticed that people weren't going away, people weren't going on holiday. It was just in and out. You were in there for 4 hours, you had your treatment, you came back home, you slept, you were tired, you were exhausted, you got up and you went back you went back the next day. So I was working full time. So my schedule was, I was up at 7, at work at 9, finished work at 5, from 5, went to the dialysis unit, did my 4 hours, finished at 11 at night, got home at 12, had a shower, and I was back on it. So that
Oh,
was my life. And I was like, well, people need to take a holiday. You know, you need to get out of this rut. You kind of feel stuck because you're connected to this machine. You're living your life by this machine, but you need to get out of it. You need to give it a rest. But you're not
mm,
rest, not when you're a kidney patient on dialysis. Unfortunately, when you go on holiday, you still need to have your treatment. So I then inquired, and at the time we had a coordinator who was able to take that responsibility from you and book your holiday. But as you know, the different changes within the NHS, that job was no longer there. So it was given to the patients to do. So as a patient, you now had to find your own dialysis unit, get that booked in advance before you can even book your hotel. You need to make sure your dialysis is arranged first. So as I was going through the process, there were so many hiccups along the way, but I made it and I went on holiday and I had some lovely holidays abroad, especially in Europe, because you have a European health card, which is now the global health European card, and you can use that for dialysis. So in Europe, you can actually get your dialysis free, and some countries within Europe you have to pay for. But if you have your global health card, insurance card, it will pay for your dialysis. So I managed to get that, and my first trip was to Spain. I went to Spain and I had a lovely time. I went to dialysis. It was near the hotel, so we were actually able to walk there and come back, or pay a really small fee, like €6, to get there. And I had a wonderful holiday. And I was like, isn't this fantastic? But because of the bumpy road that I had in order to book it, I then said, why can't I do this for others? Why can't I
mm.
help other people and encourage them to have a holiday? Because my own experience of going to the satellite unit, it was a brand new unit and everything was white, and everything was spotless. So you actually felt a little bit uncomfortable because it wasn't quite right. And I said I said to myself, every time I was going to the unit, it kind of made me sad. I kind of went down. And I said, if I'm feeling like this and I'm new as a kidney patient, how are others feeling? So why not give them something to look forward to, which is a holiday? It might not be everybody's go to thing, but if it is, then why not take a holiday?
Oh,
So
and
that's
it's
basically
if
what I
it's
do. Yeah.
important for everybody. It's important for everybody, isn't it, to de-stress,
Mm.
to be able to unwind. This does have a knock-on effect on your health. So if you're already you've already got a chronic illness, it's unless you're really really mentally strong and you're really aware of it, it can bring you down. And then, like you say, if you're having to work on top, and so the stress of everything, and then continually going to sit for, I don't think people realize how much stress that's going to be caused, for somebody just working a job, just doing the 9 to 5, they get to a stage where they really need a holiday, a chance to unwind, which is going to make you feel better, which is going to improve your health. I mean, the whole thing. So
Mm.
why do you think, what is the main stumbling blocks as to, why it is, have people just sort of almost given up if they've got a chronic illness, and they think it's just too much hard work or too much extra stress to actually book a holiday? Why are they not going?
Well, I I do think it is the organization of it all, especially as a kidney patient, you can't get up and go. So, prior to me having that illness, I would a holiday advertised, I would book it and and I could go. I could get a good deal. But now I can't. It's not I can't get a good deal, but the deals will come and go because there's 3 months planning in advance for a holiday.
Oh,
So
wow.
yeah, you need that time to plan it. So as I said, the first thing you need is to book the dialysis. So you choose your destination, and then you say, okay, I need dialysis. Where are the dialysis units in this country? Then you go and you source that information, which is not always easy because you could type it in Google, but they're not always found. So you may have to go back to your unit or go back to a kidney association or organization, and they've got a full list of places where you can go and dialyze. Then you contact the dialysis unit, and then you have to find out if they've got availability. And many units, especially since lockdown, are only having 2 or 3 spaces available for a holiday patient. So they could only schedule perhaps 4 weeks out of the whole year to give to somebody visiting their country who is on holiday. So it's on a first serve first first come first serve basis. So you're not guaranteed that you can actually get a space in that unit the time that you want it. So if they don't have it, then you've got to think of somewhere else or you think of another country. So that in itself is not an easy or a win-win situation straight away. So after you found that place, you book it, you confirm it, then you need to confirm back with your consultant whether you are fit to travel. And he
Oh,
can turn around and say, unfortunately not. You could have your bloods done, your bloods come back and they're not, 100%. You may not be able to travel. So that's another issue. So you've just got to, look after yourself, keep yourself fit, so that you can go on a holiday and your consultant can confirm that. So once that's all confirmed, the next step is medical insurance. You now need to make sure that you can get medical insurance because if you're a kidney patient, you could also have other complications. And if you've got other complications, those need to be considered as well. And then you need to make sure you get medical insurance. Once you've got the medical insurance, you've got the confirmation that you are fit to travel, this unit is there, you're good to go. And
right. So it sounds like all these things that people have got to remember to do and remember to check and then double check. And do you think that is what puts people off because they just think, oh, it's too
yeah,
much hard work and I don't want to be disappointed if they turn around?
yeah, a lot of it is fear and disappointment that they may not be fit enough to travel. They may not
Right.
be well enough to travel. Or what happens if I get sick when I travel? So you've got all these fears around it. But for me, and what gives me the confidence is once we've passed that process of a unit is willing to accept you, your consultant says you're fit for travel, you've passed, you can travel insurance, that alone gives me confidence that I am able to travel. And I want to be able to share that with others so that they too can feel confident yes, we are not well. We have illness. You know, we may be suffering, we may have pain, but we can travel. And that's exactly what I want to do. I want to encourage people in these situations to have the confidence to travel.
Right. And because really when they're looking at like, well, what are the actual benefits? How much? I mean, share with the audience for you on your first holiday after you've been, having to go and spend all this time on dialysis and the stress of everything. How did you feel when you were able to get on holiday? I mean, really, that I suppose that's the big selling point, isn't it? Is that what it's actually going to do for you and how you feel, which is going to have a knock-on effect, hopefully, to your health, overall health. How did you feel that first time being able to go away and it to be all sort of smooth sailing and the real benefit?
It was absolutely fantastic. And every holiday I have, I feel rejuvenated. I feel like I have come alive because, as I said before, that routine that we are into, yeah, it's a routine, it's good. We know exactly what is happening day by day. But when you go on holiday, you do exactly what you want. It's really nice. Yes, you have your slot. You know, Monday, Wednesday, Friday, you've got dialysis at this time, it's going to finish at that time. So that's all organized, that's all done. You now just have to live every other day and enjoy it. And
Mm.
for me, that buzz of that holiday, being in the sun, lying on the beach, drinking cocktails, and just, the sun beaming down, the vibes, the being in a different environment, just alone, traveling on the aircraft, meeting friends, meeting new people. All of that is just such an excitement. And the benefits of it is that it can last up to 3 to 4 weeks after the event. So when you've been on holiday, yes, it's nice you want to go home, but you want to kind of stay there because it's, the vibes are nice. You're just relaxed. You've got no stress. You know you're coming home and you're going back to the routine, but that buzz can stay with you, as I said, up to 3 to 4 weeks. So,
Right. And then And
yeah,
then if you
you
know
have
it
a lot of
runs
time.
smoothly, you can do it again. So then you've always, well, as human beings, we all need something to look forward to, don't we?
Yes,
And more so if you're having to have the extra stresses that other people without any chronic illnesses are not having. So they're not really going to totally understand this. But
mhm,
yeah, so then it's even more important for these people to have something to look forward to and be able to completely unwind out of the day-to-day stresses. So for you, so you call yourself a destination concierge.
yes,
Is
yes.
that how you would describe yourself?
Yes, because I encourage you to choose your destination and I will do the rest. So
Ah,
basically, the client chooses their destination, and then we have a holiday consultation. We can have that discussion up to 3 times. So on the first discussion, I will find out what destination you want to go on, whether what health condition you have that needs to be considered. If you're a kidney patient, do you need dialysis, or do you need a dialysis unit? Because you could just be a transplantee, so you're just a transplant patient, you're just a kidney patient at whatever stage, so you don't need dialysis. Or, as I said, people with chronic illnesses, we'll find out what your illness is and what is required. we'll find out what type of holiday you want. You might want holiday where you just do strictly site visiting. You just go around and see all the sites. You're not interested in lounging on a sunbed. You're not interested on being on a beach. You just want to sightsee. So I'll find out your likes and your dislikes, what kind of holiday that you want, and then we will take it from there as to whether you need add-ons, whether you want a car, or whether you actually want a cruise or you want to go by railway. How do you want your holiday? But I can do all of that for you.
Right, so it's taking all the stress out of it, so you can deal with all the, dealing with the red tape and making sure that they've got all the medical needs that they require. So it sounds like it's a really great service to offer people that are maybe just putting off going on holiday because it seems
Yeah.
like an uphill struggle, and it doesn't have to be. It doesn't have to be. So
No,
you
exactly.
so why are you so passionate about doing this? Is it because you've come up against challenges in the past? Why is it that you're doing this now as your business to help others create memories?
Yeah. I think it's my own experience and the experience as I had that when I first started dialysis, it took its toll on me. It was very hard for me to accept. I then learnt and accepted it. And when I saw a lot of people just going and coming, and when I went around, I actually took my time and I did the research and I went and I spoke to people one by one. And many of them were like, oh no, I don't want to go on holiday just in case something happens. I love the nurses here. They're so good. They understand me. I'm not going anywhere. And then some of them were, oh my gosh, if you go to Europe and you drink the water, you're going to get infected. I don't want an infection. So there was so many excuses that people were making. They may not have been excuses for them. They might have been genuine and, really sincere. That's the reason why they didn't want to travel. But I think you need to do something. You need to get out of that rut if you're stuck. So that's
Mm.
why I want to encourage them to go on holiday help to help themselves. It will help them with their mental health, with their well-being. They can make friends. You can have memories, take pictures, take videos. You can have so much enjoyment from going on a holiday. So that was the reason why. And because prior to my illness, I love traveling anyway. I had traveled to quite a few different countries and I started doing little collectibles and stuff from different countries. So it's a passion of mine because I love to travel. And now that I see a lot of people who are ill that don't travel or are fearful of travel, I want to encourage them to travel or to just get out, or even if it's an overnight stay, that alone, just the traveling, the journey there, and just an overnight stay, or, for afternoon tea and you stay over and you come back. It's just enjoyable just to do that.
Mm. So it
And you
doesn't
can
have to
meet
be a
and you can,
full-blown 2-week holiday. You cater for just sort of, yeah, day trips or weekends away just to get,
yeah,
yeah, I mean, we all need to get out of your your home because you need to have a different environment just to refresh,
yeah,
like you say, rejuvenate. And
yeah,
I think everybody has sort of experienced a little bit of that just through the lockdown, right? And they were just
yeah,
desperate to get out. So it makes sense that, so many people are putting it off just because they have a chronic illness. It doesn't mean that everything else has to stop.
yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And I also, just to let you know as well, I can also provide carers for you. So if somebody has a chronic illness, and it could be their parents that are always caring for them, I can also provide a carer to give the carer a break and to
Ah.
allow a carer to come in and help and support you if that's needed. So, yeah,
Well,
I
that is something that it isn't as often spoken about. The fact that carers suffer with burnout too,
yeah,
so they too need a holiday,
the
right?
holiday.
They
Yeah,
need a break. So
yeah.
actually, you're providing you're providing quite a few services there. So tell me more about your specific program that you offer, and how any of the listeners can get involved.
Yeah. Well, I have a membership scheme that I'm in the progress of setting up. It's not quite there yet, but what it will do, it will be a place, a safe place where you can chat, where you can network, where you can set your goals, set your action plans. I also have a saving scheme if you want to save to book your holiday. I do the holiday consultation. As I said, we offer three chats before you can actually book your holiday, so we know exactly what it is that you want. And yeah, and there's many more to come.
Awesome. And
Yeah.
so with your business, it's called
Fast approach.
Fast Approach. And are there is there anybody else out there doing it, or how do you differ to your competitors?
Well, basically, because I'm providing a very personal service, one-to-one consultation, whoever you work with will be your point of contact from beginning to end, because the service that we provide, also just to add in, is that we pick you up from your home, we take you to the airport, from the airport to the hotel. If you have got any hospital appointments or this, we take you to the dialysis. Or if the dialysis have transport, they will pick you up and drop you off. And we will also pick you up from the hotel back to the airport and back home. So that is why, like you asked a question there about destination concierge, that is where it all fits in, because
Right.
we provide the whole end to end service.
Right. Because yeah, that's it, because it sounds like there's just so many things involved, and things go amiss, and it mucks up the whole system.
Yeah.
So and
It's
what
like
you
a
know what I
bonus.
found, yeah, what I found interesting earlier when you said, you can go on holiday, there'll be a place for dialysis close to the hotel. Now
Yeah.
that I find actually concerning, because how big a problem, how how big a thing is it? Because I, maybe I do know people that are struggling with this, but I'm not aware of them.
Yeah.
But from what I have seen, I know where there's a couple of dialysis places very close to where I live. It seems to be a much bigger problem than maybe is spoken about. Because,
Yeah.
like you say, going on holiday and to have a dialysis unit nearby, that sounds like it's a massive problem. Where are we with this whole chronic illness? Well, chronic illnesses in general, but specifically kidney issues.
Yeah. Well, I personally do think it is a big problem. And that's why I found that solution to that problem. Because I've also of late been in a unit. Although I'm a home patient, I wasn't very well, so I had to go into unit and dialyze. And there were a couple of people who wanted to go on holiday. This one particular man asked the nurse, said, "Oh, I want to go on holiday. How can I go on holiday? And she basically said, oh, you can go to kidney care, or you can go online and see if you can, the nurse as actually wasn't willing to help him, you
Right.
know.
Are they
So
are they not encouraging people to go on holiday?
I wouldn't necessarily say they're not encouraging. They don't take it on as their responsibility,
Yeah.
because there's no longer a role within the department anymore where there was a travel coordinator.
Right.
So because there's no travel coordinator, they shove it because they don't want to take on that responsibility, because they've got so much other things to do. So this is where I come in and say, I can help you.
Mm.
Come to me. So it's me putting myself out there, coming on shows like this, talking about it, spreading the word that there is
To
somebody
say
here.
you can do it. You can do it.
Yeah,
There's no need for you to stay at home and just go from work to the unit and home. There is more to life, and that you can actually enjoy yourself. But it is allowed. That's what I'm
yeah,
hearing.
it
It's
is.
allowed. You're allowed to enjoy yourself. You're allowed to have fun. Goodness, even if you've got a chronic illness, go figure. Who
Yeah,
knew, right? Who knew? You've
exactly.
got to, I suppose you've got to make light of it, haven't you? Because I get it. It's a serious subject, and you've got to have your ducks in a row, which is why I much rather have somebody else deal with it rather than make a mistake yourself. But this whole thing of you know it's going to have a knock-on effect to yourself. And if more and more people in this country are struggling with this, because that's I find that concerning. That should there be a dialysis unit so close to any hotel, that is telling me that there's a lot of people out there that are suffering,
Yeah,
which
absolutely.
is a massive shame. And how do you, with your own personal experience with it, I know that you focus on your diet and you look after yourself as much as you can. Do you think people out there are really sort of getting the help that they need, even with regards to getting the best help that they can get?
Um, I believe it's out there, but it depends on where to find it. Do people know where to find it? Within the kidney community, the ages are quite, are quite vast. So
Hmm.
the young would more than likely know how to go to social media. There's a lot of community groups on Facebook. I also have a kidney community group that I would love people to join, and I'll share that with you
Hmm.
a bit later. So there's community groups out there. There are associations, kidney associations and foundations out there that you could go to. But there's also my website out there now that people can go to and get information about kidney disease and holidays and how to travel.
Right.
Yeah.
And so I suppose, like you said earlier, about the people are naturally, obviously, going to have these fears.
Mm.
So, what would happen? I suppose they might be thinking, yeah, but like you said, what if something goes wrong, and what if they have any problems with the dialysis whilst they're abroad? So, what would be your answer to them?
Well, my answer would be is definitely trust the process that you're going through, especially at the dialysis unit. They will give you the best care ever. I myself have experienced, whilst on dialysis abroad, I had a problem and I was given the best care. I was transferred from the local unit to the local hospital. I was treated, and, I came back home and everything was fine. So, the same way that you would be treated as if you had a problem abroad, here within the UK, you would equally be treated with the best care. Hence, I always advise you travel with the travel insurance. So that would definitely give you cover. I'm also a point of contact. If you've booked the holiday, I am more than happy to contact your unit over here on your behalf to let them know that you have been taken into care by a hospital. So the communication is definitely there, and I have backup, but I would just encourage you to trust the process, trust the treatment and the care that you're going to get from the unit, that you won't be left not cared for. And and normally there is at least one English speaking nurse or doctor that will come and talk to you. So don't feel that, oh, they won't be able to speak English. There normally is at least one English nurse or a doctor that can speak to
Right.
you.
So I suppose that is probably what's concerning them the most, the fear of anything going wrong. And well, even with regards to, their mental health, how anxious were you when you first did it? Were you anxious about it, or were you just excited? I bet you were just excited.
I was excited, yeah.
Yeah.
I was excited. I wasn't anxious or curious or anything. So no.
But
But
but for
and
many, how
yeah.
would you sort of reassure them if they were getting a little bit, suffering with a little bit of anxiety about it? It's really to put their minds at rest that you're going to get the help. You're going to get the help that you need. Doesn't matter what that. I don't know why we think that everything's perfect here, right? I mean, I'm
Yeah.
not saying that it isn't. You get good help, but it's interesting that people think that everywhere else is going to be. They're not. They do have hospitals, they do have
Yeah,
units, and
exactly.
they
They
are going
will
to be
do.
looking after many, many people.
Yeah, and the same care and the same treatment that I would have over here is what I had over there. And to be honest, I was taken to the hospital by the firefighters.
Oh wow!
It was the firefighters that actually took me to the hospital.
I bet
I
that
was
made your day.
I mean, they were lovely. They were absolutely lovely. So what happened was I was sent home, and the next day the unit said that you will be taken to the local hospital and you'll have this treatment, etc. So that morning, I'm expecting, the ambulance or a taxi or whatever, but it was the firefighters. They turned up and they were like, "Oh, we're going to take you to the hospital." And I'm like, "Oh, but you're fire people." And they said, "Oh, yeah, but our role today is to take you safely to the local hospital." So I
Oh
was
wow!
transported by them, and they were lovely.
Oh, and
And
where
they,
was that? People want a book now.
and they waited all day. They waited all day and took me home in the evening. It was
Wow.
absolutely lovely. And they shared so much fantastic stories with us, about their life as firefighters and their
And where was
role.
this? What country was this? Where were you?
Portugal.
Oh wow!
I
Okay,
was in
okay,
Portugal.
cool.
Yeah.
Cool.
So
So where have you been? How many other where have you tell us your travels. Tell us your travels, Hilary, since ever since and actually, first of all, I know
mm,
you sort of mentioned before about how the transplant failed. So how long, how many years have you been
mhm.
going on holiday dealing with this issue?
For 15 years.
So in
Yeah.
15 years,
Yes.
can you share some of your holiday experiences that
Yes.
you've had in that time whilst dealing with this to share with people to say, you know what, you can do it too?
Yeah. Well, I've been to quite a few countries. I'll just mention a few. So, and this is where I've also had dialysis. So,
Hmm.
I've been to Morocco, I've been to Turkey, I've been to Spain, I've been to Portugal. Trying to think of where else now.
Well, it's
I've been to a few different places in Spain, but Spain's
okay.
one of my favorites. So one of the experiences that I had in Morocco that was really sad was in Morocco at that time they were still recycling their artificial kidneys, you might as well say. So you use a filter which is used as an artificial kidney, and they were still recycling, whereas here in the UK we use a brand new filter.
Mm-hmm.
And I did find that very strange because I thought, ooh, I wonder if that's going to cause a problem or give me any form of infection. But it was pretty safe. And the consultant assured me, it's cleaned properly and everything was up to standard. So they did have there were a few differences within the unit
Mm-hmm.
in the UK to the unit in Morocco, and that was one of them. They used recycled products.
Right.
And one particular morning when I was on my way to the unit, I saw this guy crawling on the floor, and I was like, "Oh, what's this man?" I said, "Oh, perhaps he isn't well, or that's the way he has to walk. He can't walk, so he has
Right.
to crawl." But little did I know, by the time I had got out the taxi and walked towards the unit, this guy that I saw crawling on the floor was crawling to the unit,
Oh.
struggling because he needed dialysis. And because you have to pay over there,
Oh.
you can't get dialysis how we do here.
Oh.
So he crawled. The nurses and doctors, they were so kind. They picked him up, they took him in, and they gave him dialysis for like
Oh.
3-4 hours, and he was able to leave and go. But because you
Right.
have to pay,
Uh,
a lot of people, they end up losing their lives because they cannot afford it, and they
mm,
don't have family that can help them pay for it. They don't have charities and stuff that will help them. So, some of them will
we
beg.
don't know how lucky we are, do we?
Yeah,
We
for the
really
NHS.
just, and that's just another reminder. We are so lucky here in the UK that, yeah,
Yeah,
if you're ill, you can go and get it sorted. And the fact that you can, then even that, you can go abroad to these countries and still get treated. And it's very sad state of affairs where the people of their own country can't get treated for free.
yeah,
But that's why you have to be grateful for everything that you have and for where you are,
absolutely.
because you have that advantage that you don't, I mean, have to pay for it.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
to
And
the
it's like,
listeners,
yeah, sorry, go on.
how all I was going to say was how do they find you if they've been, or if they know anybody, maybe it's not them but they can think of somebody that you think, oh, they haven't had a holiday in a long time because they've almost sort of given up on having a holiday because they have to go to the unit every single day.
Mhm.
How would they get in touch with you?
Well, you can get in contact with me via email, which is hilary.rose.co.uk. Sorry,
So hang on,
yeah, that's
Hilary
my
at,
website. That's my website. It's
no, hang on,
Hilary
what's your website is hilary.rose.co.uk.
UK. Yep. And you can contact me via Hilary at hilary.rose.co.uk.
Perfect.
You can also join my Facebook group, which is Kidney Warriors Ooh, it's just gone out of my head.
It'll be in the list below. So if
Yeah,
you're just
yeah,
listening to it, come to the podcast and you'll see all the links below.
no,
But
yes.
Kidney
Thank you.
Warriors, look up Kidney Warriors, look up Hilary Rose, and so the company you're called Fast Approach, but it will
Yes,
be under the
Rose.
hillaryrose.co.uk. Is that
Yeah,
right?
yeah, everything
Okay.
is there. So my name is Hilary Rose. Type in Hilary Rose, co.uk. You will find me there, my business, and all of my social medias
Awesome.
will be
So
there.
for you, where are you off to next then? What have you got planned next?
Well, what I have planned next is somewhere abroad. I don't know where yet. More than likely Spain this year. We haven't
Yeah.
been there, and my husband loves it. So more than likely Spain. But we've just had a lovely weekend in Glasgow. It was absolutely fabulous, and that was in aid of kidney research. And we went by aeroplane. We decided we're not going to drive. The journey was
Oh,
too long. We didn't want to take the train, although the train's not bad, but we took a flight, and it was
right.
fantastic. Yeah, to
Lovely.
Glasgow for the weekend.
Oh,
So
nice.
I'm happy to do the short trips, and the short trips because when you're a kidney dialysis patient, you can do dialysis for 2 days. You can not do dialysis, sorry, for 2 days and still have a good quality of life. Once you start to get into the third, fourth day, you're really putting your life at risk. So the weekend breaks are perfect, really, really good for kidney patients because you can just get away and have a lovely
Right.
break.
Not have to worry about anything.
Yeah,
Mm.
yeah.
Mm. But you don't just, Kate. I mean, we've talked a lot today about kidney, but
Mm.
you're with helping this doesn't just mean kidney patients. What sort of other illnesses, chronic illnesses, can you deal with
Well,
dealing with
yeah.
holidays?
Well, with the majority, people who were suffering with a lot of pain, I can't remember the word, people who suffer with a lot of pain, people who have cancer, people who have long life impacting illnesses,
Right.
we will help with. And especially those with cancer who may not be living long, we are more than likely to arrange a holiday for those people who just want to be by the sea, be by the mountains, whatever
Mm.
their desire is. We are more than happy to arrange and book a holiday for them.
Right. Because again, it is all about it is all about quality of life, and I can only imagine how just getting any kind of diagnosis, what an impact that's going to have on your mental health.
Mm.
And I suppose it's easy when you don't, there's nothing going on, but to like, people just sort of own it, and they don't see the light at the end of the tunnel. But from an outsider looking in, you think, well, by having a holiday, that is just opening everything up, because it is how we feel is going to affect how we recover. Some things, if we're not going to recover from, and we've just got to maintain. I suppose, like you said, it was when you accepted it. We all have to just accept the isness of what is,
Yeah,
whether that means you've just got to have long-term treatment in whatever form, but also that it doesn't just have to be that. There is light at the end of the tunnel. There is, whatever stage you're at, because it doesn't have to be that just getting by, just doing the day to day and going in for treatment constantly, that you can still enjoy. We've all got to make the most of it. None of us know how much longer we've got left. So to make the most of it and have a holiday of a life, it doesn't have to be a holiday of a lifetime, just to get away and
yeah,
have that stress-free. And like you say, it's amazing what a bit of sun does to you, isn't it?
yeah.
Sometimes that's all we need, because
Yeah.
as soon as it's bright out there. I mean, I have been out today. It's actually
Yeah.
quite nice, which is unusual for this time of year. But having that sunshine, that is just going to have a knock-on effect. So even a couple of days, a weekend away can rejuvenate you just as much as a long holiday.
Holiday, absolutely, because you will have those memories and you'll have that feel good factor, you know,
Yes.
and especially you go away and you meet new friends. Even that alone, can stimulate you and make you, feel so happy that you've met somebody new, and you build on that relationship, you know, and it and they that might even encourage you to go back again because
Yeah,
you've met
sure.
new people and you can go back, you know, and for your mental health, just getting out of that routine, change of routine just helps,
Yeah, of course it does.
so
Of course it does.
yeah,
Everybody needs that regardless. So you're
yeah,
catering for not just kidney patients, it's other chronic illnesses, plus the
yeah,
carers.
yeah,
Because as you
oh,
mentioned
yeah,
earlier, it's
yeah,
and we've had a couple of actually carers who've written books about burnout
yeah,
regarding carers, because that is something that sort of gets overlooked, or
look, exactly.
some may feel guilty about having to going on holiday because they're a carer, but you can help with that too.
Yeah, I can
Yeah,
help with that too. Yep.
awesome. So an all round. So what a change for you. So what were you doing before you decided to make this your
I was an administrator working within the NHS. and
okay?
I I retired early. So as soon as I retired, I said, I'm gonna do it because I've had this idea since 2007, you might as well say. And you kind of get stuck when you're doing your 9 to 5, you're doing your 9 to 5. You have these ideas and you want to set your own business up. You want to do your own thing. I didn't do it. And as soon as I retired, I was like, I'm doing it. I'm going for it. And I haven't stopped since. So,
Right.
yeah.
But isn't it
Yeah.
interesting? You could have done this before.
I absolutely could have done. And I agree with you.
Isn't it
Definitely.
funny? We put all these limitations on ourselves,
Yeah.
and then finally, so it took for you to actually retire to then go and do it.
Yeah.
You could have done it before, but I
Yeah.
find it really fascinating that we all can get stuck,
Yeah.
and it's not that we're stuck; it's a mental
Yeah. It's a
prison that we put
mental.
on ourselves,
Yeah.
that actually we weren't stuck. We could have
Yeah.
done it before, but it takes something sometimes a little bit more drastic. Sometimes when people have lost their job, or okay, you got to retire, so then you could focus on the time. Some people find themselves, okay, they've been made redundant, and then it's okay, now is the time. But even that alone is a lesson to anybody that,
Yeah.
man, don't
Yeah.
wait. If you
Yeah.
have an
But
idea, if you had a dream,
I did start the business prior to actually, I did start the business, but it was very, very slow. But it
yeah,
took off. I might as well say it took off
took off.
as
When
soon
you could
yeah,
focus the time on
and
it.
I could dedicate more time to it,
Yeah.
you know.
And how
But
happy are you now where you're at right
I
now?
am the happiest girl on earth because I am now living my dreams.
Yes.
I have put them into action. I'm focused, I'm determined, and I've got the energy to do it. So,
Right.
you know,
There you go. You're
onwards,
doing what you
onwards
love.
and
You're on
upwards.
purpose. You're on
Yeah,
purpose. You're
yeah.
doing what you love at the same time as helping others.
And
So
that's
I
what I
bet,
love. Yeah, I just want to see people transform their life. I want to see people move from being stuck or being stagnant to now being active. And it's all part of improving ourselves as individuals and, trying to look after ourselves, being healthy, keeping healthy, so keeping ourselves fit so we can travel, you know, and
Right.
live life to the full. Just get out there and live life. But really, I
Awesome.
just want to make people happy.
Love that. And on that note, thank you so much for your time today, Hilary. Thank you for sharing your story. And I hope that inspires others out there to, go on, take that step, go and have a holiday, go and enjoy yourself. So
Yeah.
thank you for that. And to the listeners, I will be back on Thursday with a coffee with Karen. Bye for now.
Coffee with Karen podcast, a weekly chat show discussing everything from holistic health to current affairs from a mental, physical, and spiritual perspective. Get your weekly cup of positivity with a sprinkling of woo-woo.